All right, guys, for this next step, we're going to be making our pattern and we're going to be cutting out our material. You should have already bought 2 pieces of fabric, each in a 1/2 yard measurement. You'll be using these fabrics to create all of your exterior and interior panels along with the flap and the pocket pieces. So you can set your fabric to the side, and first what we need to do is we need to make that pattern. So using a piece of newspaper, we're going to take those measurements we created in the last video. So I had 12 1/4 by 16 1/2 for my exterior panels. So I'm just going to be using my ruler, and I'm going to be creating 12 1/4 is my first measurement. So I'm just going to line that up, 12 1/4. Make sure it's nice and straight. You want to make sure that your pattern is going to be the best can possibly be. So it's going to be nice and precise all the way along. You want to use precision so that everything works. You're spending all this time to make it, so you might as well make it right. So once I have all my 12 1/4 marked out, I'm going to flip my ruler and then I'm going to do my 16 1/2 measurements. Remember, your measurements may not be the same as mine, especially if we have different devices. They all come in different sizes. So I'm going to have my 16 1/2 here. Get them all lined up. I'm going to go ahead and also make another pattern piece for that pocket, which is going to be my 11 inches by 12 1/4. And then I'm also going to make that pattern piece for my pocket, which is going to be a 4 by 6. Now you will ultimately need to make cut out 4 pieces of fabric for the exterior and 2 pieces of fabric for the pocket and 2 for the flap, but you only need to make 1 pattern piece of each of those. So here we go. I've already created my pattern pieces, and now I'm ready to start pinning it. So I'm going to set these to the side. I'm going to make sure my fabric is nice and flat. If you need to at this point, go and iron it. You're going to be happier in the end if it's been nice and ironed so it's nice and crisp. So flattening out. Now here's the deal. You need 4 total exterior pieces. 2 of your main print and 2 of your coordinating print. So work wiser, work smarter, not harder. Cut 2 of them at the same time. So if your fabric is folded, you can just lay your pattern piece on top. And remember, we want to use our fabric the most wise and efficient way possible. So that means not just putting our pattern piece in the center, but making sure it's off to the side. We also want to make sure that we are not using that selvage. If you remember from class, that's where the fabric is really tightly woven. And over time, it's not going to wash and wear the same way. You might have some puckering and bunching and some other things that happen. So stay at least a little bit away from the selvage. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to be pinning down. Make sure that you're pinning your corners at that diagonal, and then pin along the sides where needed, and then you'll be ready to cut right along the edge, taking time and care when cutting out the edge of your fabric.